I had a great race today. I'm so happy. I can't wait to tell you all about it. Oh, come on. Who am I kidding? We're runners. We're never happy with our races. But at least I was satisfied. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Running Otaku. I am the Running Otaku. And today I'm going to tell you all about my 15K race. Quick note. So this channel is starting to grow a little bit. In December, we ended the year right about 100 subscribers. And now just 6 weeks later, we're at something like 260. So thank you guys so much for watching and for telling all your friends and fellow runners about it. Really appreciate it. So the race was called the Zena Road Race, and it's one of those great small town races. It took place in Salem, Oregon, which is about an hour-and-a-half drive south of Portland. And there was a 5K, a 10K, and a 15K, and all combined, there were just 300 runners. And one thing that I love about this race is the t-shirts and the medals were optional. Now I know for runners just starting, the t-shirts and the medal are one of the main draws, but if you've been racing over a number of years, they tend to just collect dust in the corner. And being able to spend just $25 on a race and not having to take home the medal and the t-shirt, I think is a great thing. Okay, so let's look and see how I did. Okay, so this was essentially the slide that I showed those of you yesterday, what I was kind of projecting I thought I could do for today. So you can see here, as per the last slide, the gradients. The negative means it's a sharp downhill and then the big uphill. And I thought that I would start off a little bit too fast and not be able to maintain power on the downhill. And this is true. It's sort of like if you ride a bike downhill and you try and pedal faster and faster, you end up just freewheeling because at a certain kind of steepness, you just can't pedal and keep up with the wheels. Running is kind of the same, so I can't maintain 270 watts on a steep downhill. At least I thought I couldn't. We'll find out in a second. And you can see all the wattage here. And then my estimation on the left here is pace in miles and then in right in kilometers. So you could pick whichever one you like the most. You can see here what I estimated given the wattage that I thought I could hold and the gradient for each of those miles. And the ultimate conclusion was that I thought today I would run about an hour 3:52. And so let's see how I did. First, the watts here, the white letters are what I did today. So as expected, I started off too fast. Now this wasn't an accident. I mentioned that my primary goal was to try and stick with the 3 guys on my team that were immediately ahead of me in a 5K 2 months ago. And when I mean immediately ahead of me, they were the next closest competitors on my team, but they were actually all about 30 seconds faster than me in the 5K. So my goal was to start with them, hang on as long as I could, and see if they could carry me through to the finish. And what happened was, even though I was running at 284 watts, which is well above my threshold, they left me. Not a lot. I think if I maintained 290 watts, I could have stayed with them, but I probably would have blown up probably a little more than halfway into the race. So I had to let them go after about 1 kilometer or so. And you can see my wattage basically normalized again. And the last 2 miles, I was actually above my FTP, which is good. It means that they were big uphills, but I still able to kind of dole out my power through the course of the race and still had a little bit left over at the end. So in terms of pace, here we go. Again, per mile over here and per kilometer over here. I won't go through all of these, but mile 2 and 3 that were steep downhill, if you add these two together, I ran those 3,218 meters at 11 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, it's been since 1988 since I've run 2 miles that fast, so go downhill, love you. And you can see here all the way through. The basic thing is I ran a little bit faster than I thought I could on the downhill, and I ran a lot faster than I could on the uphill, especially this one here. This really steep section, I thought I could only do 8:20 because it was so steep, and I ran 6:47, which is great. It looks like I paid for it a little bit in the 8th mile, but really happy with that. So overall, I was faster than what I thought I would be. Exactly how fast? Well, I've got that. Here we go. I ran 1 hour and 41 seconds. So good job, me. I beat my projected time by over 3 minutes. And as luck would have it, I hit exactly 270 watts average for the full race. Now, as I mentioned, I think I left a little bit in the tank. So I believe that my true functional threshold isn't 270. It's a little bit higher, maybe 275-ish, something like that. Okay, so I mentioned there were about 300 racers overall for the 5, the 10, and the 15K. For the 15K, there was maybe 150 or so. And it turns out I finished, let's pop this up here, 13th. I blacked out all the other competitors' names for privacy. So I did 13th. So that's not bad. At least I didn't think it was bad, but here's my problem. This guy is 42 years old and he took second. He beat me by 6 minutes. And then, unfortunately, there was another Masters runner, 49 years old. And then another, and another, and another, and another. And I was... So, small race, only 150 people. 13th overall, pretty good, but 7th as a master. So I know you're saying this is not a me problem, it's a you problem. And for me, yes, it is a me problem, because ultimately I'm just trying to improve myself and run as fast as my kind of potential will allow me. But at the same time, I am competitive, and being 7th master in a small race kind of sucks. I guess the only consolation is a number of these guys, and I won't point them out specifically, but a number of these guys are actually national class. They run for the Bowerman Nike Masters Club, the 50 and over guys, some of them. And I think they were 3rd in the nation this year. The 40 and over guys in the Bowermans, I think they win it like year after year, or at least they're always on the podium. And some of these guys in the early 40s are still running like 15 flat for the 5K. So I can't even see them after a mile. So in the 15K, they were just long gone. But that's my problem. So I think overall, I'm pretty fast for our age group. I just live in an area where I'm relatively slow. Okay, so this is really important here. I do this not only when I run, but in work or in life, right? Whenever something big happens, whether it was good or bad, it's always nice to take a step back and be a bit reflective and see what you can learn. So I learned 4 things for the race today. The first is downhill running at race pace. I'm not very good at. As I just said, I'm probably leaning too far back and heel striking. If it's not that steep or I'm not running super fast, my form is fine. But I do need to practice more, especially for Boston, which the first 16 miles, which is like, I don't know, 28, 29K, something like that, is all downhill. Most of it not super steep, but still, I need to get better at that. The second thing, as I mentioned, is focusing on cadence when tired. Now, I don't want you, and I am not a slave to my watch. I'm not running like this the whole race. You need to enjoy the experience and concentrate and see what's around you and catch the guy in front of you. But you do need to be cognizant. And I can feel it. When I get a little tired, I slow down and getting a little sloppy. I need to mantra to myself that as soon as I start kind of slowing down to start picking up the cadence. The third one I hit on before. So my actual FTP, I believe now is at 275, and the higher number, the better. It means you're getting into shape. So I will use that 275 number to plug in what kind of intensities I should be running for my tempo runs. And for all of my races, I can multiply by a magic number. Like for instance, the marathon is 0.899, and I will be able to compute what my kind of optimal wattage will be for those races. And then finally, so I use the Stride app on my Apple Watch when I run. It allows you to set up to like 4 screens, anywhere between 1 and 7 data fields. Now, don't use the 7. If you're looking at 7 numbers at one time, something's wrong. But anyways, as I showed you yesterday, I only had the 3-second kind of rolling average power number, which is great. It gives you kind of real-time feedback and kind of smooths out those kind of spikes. But I should also add the overall kind of the average power from the start of the race to wherever I am at that point in time. Because for instance, if I'm trying to hold that 275 watts, I want to know when I'm halfway through the race, you know, am I at 273? Am I at 280? It will give me a good indication of whether I'm leaving too much in the tank or am I about to blow up. Okay, so the next race. I don't run 15Ks very often. In fact, today was the first one, so I guess I set a PR. Anyways, this is, I believe, my second and last 15K of the year. It just happens to be their back-to-back. It's the Shamrock 15K in Portland. Now, I know Sage Canada came to run it last year. He's originally from Oregon, I believe. I don't think he's going to be here this year, but there's a lot of fast guys. But of course, my team likes to pick challenging races, so this profile here, again, the first half up, the last half down, and 783 feet gain or 238 meters. So, you know, it's quite challenging. So that was my race for today. Overall, like I said, I'm pretty happy. Not totally happy because I'm a runner, but quite satisfied. I think I'm on the right track. My fitness level, I don't think is quite yet at 3 hours, especially for a challenging course like Boston. But I think I'm pretty close, and over the next 8 weeks, I feel confident that I can achieve it. So I am kind of reinvigorated and we'll keep going. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. If you really like what you saw, then please click subscribe and that little bell next to it so you'll be instantly notified every time I upload a new video. That's it for today. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.